Hello class, and today you're going to be reviewing some content from geometry. Notice at the very top I've said there are no e-hall passes that are going to be written until this lesson is over, so pay attention and fill in your notes. So in geometry, we talked about lateral area and surface area. Today we're going to focus on the rectangular prism, and this is anticipation for a project that we have coming up for our end of the year project where we'll be looking at different shapes. All right, so some of the vocabulary, of course, a rectangular prism is a 3D figure. It has 6 faces, right? We have the top, we have the bottom, we have the left side, we have the right side, we have the front, we have the back. All right, lateral faces are the 4 faces of the prism. In other words, that's all of your sides, but it does not include your top and your bottom. That's what we call lateral. Once you add the top and the bottom, then you're talking about what is the surface area of a prism. So lateral area is the area of the sides, only the sides, not the top and not the bottom. Surface area would be including the area of all 6 sides. So front, back, left side, right side, top, and bottom. All right, some dimensions we should already be familiar with are length, L, width, W, height, H. Now, for our base, since we are talking about a rectangle base, or even if it was a square, it'd be the same thing. But our base is a rectangle. We know that opposite sides are congruent, so we have 2 lengths and we have 2 widths. So we say that the perimeter found for our base is 2 times length plus width. Now that can be applied not just to the bottom, but each side when you're talking about a 3D figure, when we look here, has some form of length and width, right? If I was talking about this, then I would have length and width, length, width, length, width, and so forth for all 4 sides. Now, what it also has in addition to length and width is a height. So once we get to finding the area, we take that perimeter of our base, but we give it a 3D shape and we multiply by its height. So we see its perimeter. Okay, so P stands for perimeter of your base. Write that down. And then times height. And then the formula for finding perimeter is 2 times L plus W. So once we know the perimeter, we can do times height, or we can do this all in one step of 2 times the quantity L plus W times H height. Now, surface area is when we have all 6 sides. And you'll notice that what's pretty cool about a rectangular prism is that your left side and your right side are the same. So you have 2 of those consistent measurements. The front and the back will be the same. And then you have the top, which is up here, will be the same length and width or have the same measurements as the bottom. So they sum that up by saying that it's 2LW, 2 of your sides, plus 2LH plus 2WH. So we've done these in geometry. Now we're going to do this in after this year as a review. All right, so step 1, we're going to fill in our information. We've got our length as 5 centimeters. Our width is 3 centimeters. and our height is 4 centimeters. So we could start by finding the perimeter, 2 times L plus W. Well, our length is 5, our width is 3. 5 plus 3 is 8. And 2 times 8 gave us our 16. Notice perimeter is not squared because you're just adding. Now area means you take that 16 centimeters times the height, which is 4 centimeters, and we get our 64 centimeters squared. So area is always squared. Same thing with surface area. Because it's area, our final answer will be squared. So in our formula was 2LW. So 2 times 5 times 3 plus 2LH, 2 times 5 times 4, plus 2WH, 2 times 3 times 4. All right, all we've done here is combined our multiplication, where we have 2 times 5 is 10 times 3 is 30. 2 times 5 is 10 times 4, that gave the 40. 2 times 3 is 6, times 4 is 24, and when we add all three together, we get 94 centimeters squared. So pretty straightforward when we want to find our information. Let's look at example 2 and let's label it. Here we can see that we have a length of 8 inches. We have a width of 6 inches. And we have a height of 10 inches. All right, so we know that our lateral area is equal to our perimeter times height. And we know that perimeter is 2 times L plus W. And then we take that answer times height. So we can do this in one step. So our length was 8 plus a width of 6 times a height. Here we have 10. All right, of course, PEMDAS says do the parentheses first. We have 2 times 14 times 10. You can do this yourself and multiply, or you can use your Desmos. And what we get is 280. Since it's area, that's going to be inches squared. All right, for surface area, our formula is 2LW plus 2LH plus 2WH. So I have 2 times, our length was 8, times height, times width, which is 6. Then we have 2LH, so 2 times 8 times 10, plus 2WH, so 2 times 6 times 10. Now we could enter that in as one step, or we can go through and look at each one. We have 2 times 8 times 6, that's 96. 2 times 8 times 10, that's 160. Plus 2 times 6 times 10, that's 120. Let's see, we can add that over here to the side, or we can use our Desmos. Really doesn't matter. But if I add these three numbers together, I get that my surface area is 376. And again, it's inches squared. Area is always squared. Or in example 3, we're going to label our diagram. It says the length is 4 meters. The width is 3 meters. And the height is 2 meters. So we have our length, our width, and our height. right, so lateral area says to do 2 times L plus W times height. So 2 times length of 4 plus width of 3 in parentheses times the height of 2. So 2 times 7 times 2 gives us a lateral area of 28 meters squared. Surface area is 2LW plus 2LH plus 2WH. So we have 2 times 4 times 3 plus 2 times 4 times 2 plus 2 times our width times our height of 2. And now let's just simplify that down. 2 times 4 is 8, times 3 is 24. 2 times 4, 8 times 2 is 16. And then 2 times 3, 6 times 2 is 12. And then we just add those three numbers together. And this time we're going to get 52, and that's meters squared. All right, we have 2 examples left. The first one here says we have a length of 10 inches. Important to label your figure. A width of 5 inches. And a height of 7 inches. So I've labeled my diagram. Make sure you do the same. All right, and now we're ready to work. So lateral area is 2 times the quantity length plus width times height. So we have 2 times 8 plus 5 times a height of 7. So 2 times 13 times 7. And that's going to give us 182. And our units are inches, so that's inches squared. Surface area, 2LW plus 2LH plus 2WH. All right, so now we're going to substitute in those values. So we know that the length was 10, so 2 times 10 times width of 5 plus 2 times length of 10 times height of 7 plus 2 times width of 5 times a height of 7. And now we're just going to simplify that down. 2 times 10 is 20. 20 times 5 is 100. 2 times 10 is 20 times 7 is 140. And then 2 times 5 is 10 times 7 is 70. And if we add those three together, we get 310 inches squared. Last example. A storage container has dimensions 9 foot by 4 foot by 6 foot. Whenever they give us dimensions and they don't state it, it's always length times width times height. So that tells us that our length is 9 feet. Our width is 4 feet. And our height is 6 feet. And now we're ready to find our information. So lateral area equals 2 times L plus W. Excuse me. Yes, L plus W. I wrote H. Let me fix that. 2 times L plus W times height. All right, so our length is 9 plus our width of 4. And then our height was 6. So that's going to give us 2 times 13 times 6. I know 13 times 6 is 78, and 78 times 2 is 156. 156 feet squared. Right, surface area, same formula as the previous examples, 2LW plus 2LH plus 2WH. All right, so length is 9, width is 4. 2LH becomes 2 times 9 for the length times 6 for the height. And then 2 times width times height becomes 2 times 4 for the width times 6 for the height. And now we're ready to simplify that down. 2 times 9 is 18, and 18 times 4 is 72. 2 times 9 is 18, and 18 times 6 is 108. And then 2 times 4 is 8 times 6 is 48. Right, if we add those together, we get 228 feet squared. All right, so you have the rest of this time to work on the homework. There are only 2 tonight, but notice that it says, show your work, no credit. Make sure that you show the formula as well as the substitution and then the final answer. That is all, and I will see you tomorrow.